Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This week's plan with me I am doing for the week of Halloween. Yay! Oh gosh, where do I even start with this? I'm doing the creepy Halloween kit from Kawaii Design this week, and normally this isn't a kit that I would really be drawn to. I think I've mentioned before Halloween's really, it's not my thing. But this is what is left, because last week I used my Nightmare Before Christmas and my Hocus Pocus kit because I was watching those movies with Darshell. But this is what we have left over for Halloween. I normally would do probably more of your traditional Halloween kit from Kawaii Design, but I didn't pick it up because I already had a bunch. So here we are. So yeah, let's just flip through this, but this is the creepy Halloween kit. I do really love it's grayscale but with purple, so would that be purple scale? I mean, but there's also gray in it. I don't know, I love all the very subdued colors, I guess. But the Hello Weekend banner is different, the checklist are skulls, this color palette is actually pretty cool. Then you go on to page 2 and it does have your clip art, but it's all grayscale, and then some typography that got very sadly mistakenly cut. That stinks. The $2 Tuesday and the Freebie Friday sticker are miscut, but the rest look okay. It looks like they were put on there too big for the cut line. So that kind of stuff happens. It's not a big deal to me. I already have these stickers. And it's just the typography stuff. Now I'm gonna tell you guys, I can tell already, and this is nothing to do with Tasia's fault. She's very straightforward with this. But can you guys see the spacing? So we all love so much when she does the darker kits that are more saturated, but what it does to the vinyl is it kind of shrinks it in, and then that leaves you with the little spacing around, and it's just the tiniest little bit that it shrinks. But when you go to lay the stickers down, it will be inside the lines of the Erin Condren box, so that is just something that I'll need to keep in mind. You can gently stretch these to make them fit, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that if you haven't figured that out already. Page 3 has a couple of functional boxes as well as your weekly schedule, your habit trackers, your dinner utensils, and then a couple of decorative stickers there. Page 4 has your half boxes and quarter boxes. And then page 5, I love this bottom washi here, and then the grayscale witches hats for the date covers. So I am still coming off of my Starbucks here. I still haven't finished it, so I'm going to drink and talk and lay down my kit because it's been a pretty fun day and it's been full of some firsts. And yeah, so let me get into it. I'm just going to start by laying down the bones of my kit and talking to you guys about my day. So if you guys don't know, my husband and I are both originally from Wichita, Kansas, and that is where most of my husband's family is still there. My family is not. My brother moved away to college at Manhattan and at K-State in Manhattan, and then my parents had actually moved up to Kansas City about the same time that I took a job near the Kansas City area. For those of you who are not from Kansas, it makes no sense to you what I'm saying right now, but my family we're all within, my side of the family, within a couple of hours for the most part. My side of the family is extremely small, but Drew's side of the family, so my husband's side, majority of them are in Kansas City. Actually, I feel like we are the only ones that live outside of the Wichita area, which does stink sometimes. I do feel like we are outcasted a lot, not purposefully left out of things, but I do feel like a lot of the times we are inadvertently left out of family functions, or we're just the last to know about a lot of things, and our feelings have been hurt lately. There's been some family stuff that has happened, and we have been just left out completely, and it is what it is. But it hurt our feelings. We kind of voiced our opinion. We do go down to Wichita quite regularly, but we don't always have the time to sit there and make that a family affair. Also, I mean, my friends are there too, so it can sometimes be a little tricky to get everyone in such a short time. So, Drew's parents had offered to meet us in the middle. So we are about 3 hours from each other, and there is a town in the middle of us. That is a fairly large town. It has some things to do. I mean, it's small relatively in the world of the United States and city sizes and things like that. But, so they asked us to meet them there for, like, breakfast. And then it turned into breakfast and an auction. And I and my husband, neither one of us had ever been to an auction before. So we were like, yeah, that sounds fun. Like, why not? Let's go. So we had breakfast at the Chuck Wagon Cafe, and it's in this tiny town of like 200 people, and you know, I was hoping it would be a little bit better. I feel like most of like our hole-in-the-wall mom and pop shop kind of things are pretty amazing around here, because it's Kansas and everything is like homegrown and homemade, but this wasn't my favorite, but it was okay, you know. Moving on now, we went to this auction, and it had a lot of older, like, farm tools, antique furniture, and glassware. It was a lot of stuff, and we'd never been to an auction before, like I had mentioned. What an experience. I feel like everyone needs to experience an auction at some point in their life, because it was super fun. Because it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, everything went very cheap. I think they just wanted to get rid of it, and there weren't very many people there. So a lot of stuff was going for like $1, $2. Very, very cheap. I mean, someone got a pretty decent recliner for $1. A lot of the wooden bookshelves were going for $1. I mean, it was insane. But anyway, my husband and I got a couple things. We actually walked out with, we paid $15 for a carload. So one of the things that I wanted is this, like, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's a stadium chair. Like, that's what it's meant for like bleachers, but it's older and metal with a really nice cushion and in really good condition for $1. And I wanted it for work. I think it's going to be like the perfect little preschool, kindergarten size, like, fold-up chair that sits on the ground, and I think it's just going to work out really well for circle time. Like, it might entice some of my preschool students who don't quite want to stay seated at circle time, but maybe if there's a cool little fancy chair, it might help keep them seated for maybe a minute or so. But we're going to try it out. I just need to clean it up because it's just dusty, but it looks brand new. So we paid $1 for that, but because everything was going so cheap, they, like, were bundling and throwing in, like, oh, well, you want this, well, then we're going to throw in all of this other crap with it. So that got entertaining. I mean, we came home with quite a few interesting little knick-knack things. My husband is an aviation mechanic. He works on airplanes, and there were a lot of, like, craftsman tools that were in decent condition, and they were older, so he was kind of, they were like a little antique-y, and he was really into them. So he picked up a couple of tools for really cheap, some, like, pliers that were like $25, or what he would have paid $25 for. He got a set for like $5, so that was kind of awesome. And I bought a little tricycle. It's super old. It's super cute though, little tiny red tricycle that I want for work, and my husband is going to kind of make it into his little project that he's going to sandblast and clean up and repaint and kind of repurpose it a little bit. like the overall structure is pretty good. So I'm excited for that. Gives him something to do. He got a little tiny step ladder. I don't know what we needed a tiny step ladder for, but again, it was $1, so now we have a tiny step ladder. What else did we get? Oh, so by the time we went inside, like half the people had left, and there weren't very many people there to begin with, so he was like, just tables. Get the whole table for $1. I did kind of feel bad. It did kind of feel wasteful, but they came to a box of records, and my dad collects records, and I knew there was one record in the whole box, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe my dad would want that. So we paid $1 for a box of records, and then some guy came up to us and he was like, hey, those other 4 boxes of records didn't sell. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that they had been up for auction already, because I'd kind of been keeping my eye out, and he said that we were doing furniture first, but whatever. So the guy, he worked for the auction, he's like, I bet you could just say, like, I'll pay $1 for all of those boxes, and you could probably take them. So my husband went up and offered $1 for 4 boxes of records. So we walked out of there with 5 boxes of records for $2. And I mean, they were dusty, but they seemed in decent quality. And my dad collects a certain type of records, but he's also pretty eclectic with his music. He listens to jazz, classical music, but also rock and just everything. So we figured if one record in there was worth more than $2, then it was worth it, kind of thing. So I don't know why looking at this would help me figure out that the first was on the Friday. Oh my gosh. But we took all of the records over to him when we got back in town, and he started looking through it, and he was actually impressed with quite a bit of it. So definitely worth more than $2 that we spent, which is awesome. And my dad seemed really happy. There were a couple things in there that he was just like really, really thrilled about, like didn't even know they existed type of thing. So that was pretty cool. I'm excited to see him actually go through, clean up some of the records. There was a lot of like gospel and older like church albums that my dad wants, doesn't want anything to do with. They don't mean anything to him. And then there was a lot of some older barbershop quartet type things, which are not also my dad's jam. There was like complete set of living Shakespeare, where they were like going, it's like a live read along of some of the Shakespeare plays with like the actual cast and everything. I don't know like where they were recorded from, but he seemed pretty happy with those too. Like I said, my dad's collection is very eclectic, but so that's always fun. I like trying to get my dad some surprises. Not that he needs more records and more things to collect, but there were some cool things in there. There's actually a record of like that local high school. So the building that the auction was in a township high school. So where the surrounding cities would all come together, because small cities of like 200 people don't make for a large high school class, grades per class. So they like bus all of the surrounding cities into one building. So this building was from the 1930s. It was just really cool. It had a lot of history to it. And one of the records in there was actually a record of that high school's like music performance. I don't know if it was like a band or an orchestra or what it was, but some sort of local history with that. So that kind of stuff I find really fascinating. that seemed to take up a good portion of our day. I feel like we were at the auction for 4 hours. Then we drove to Kansas City and picked up my 5K race packet and dropped all that stuff off at my dad's, talked with him for a little bit, picked up some Starbucks because I knew I had to come home and film this, although Starbucks the night before a race is probably not the best idea, but you know what? It is what it is at this point, and I need to stay up and get this video edited and uploaded. So it will be alright. I'll be going to bed later than I would like since we're going to get up pretty early. That is like the bummer part of kind of living where we are. We're like 45 minutes from races. But this is only my second 5K that I'm doing tomorrow. Like my second ever. So I am actually liking them because you have to pay money for them. So then I feel motivated to keep running and practicing, and I think it kind of forces me to stay on top of things a little bit there. It's a little off in the center, but that's okay. Let me put that page aside. I don't want that. Now I do want to look at the weekend banner. It's super pretty. It's like this different type of font. So I was kind of thinking it would look really good actually down here in the washi part. Ooh, I should probably leave this out to make sure. I know we've got birthdays coming up. Nephews and niece and stuff, so I don't really know if that's gonna end up straight or almost. Pick that up just a little bit, see if I can. Actually, it probably is. I think that D kind of trickles down quite a bit, but I think it's actually pretty straight as far as if you look at the other letters, and then that part kind of dips down. Let's do the sidebar. I've got my habit trackers. 1, 2, and 3. I'll probably track the same thing. Well, I don't know. Now I'm kind of stuck. Things are just, they're changing a little bit as far as I'll still be tracking water, and I still want to track my reading somehow. Ooh, that's another thing that I need to put in here. Especially because I'm not done with the Books and Planners Book Club book for October yet. It's awful. It's pretty bad. It's definitely not the worst thing that I've read. But it is a YA book. It's called The Undead Girl Gang. And it's a YA book, and I was talking to Darshell about it a little bit, and like we both like YA books, and this one feels so young. Like I feel too old reading it, and that feels weird because I usually don't feel that way towards YA books. I feel like this is going crooked a little bit, but it might just be the way that the stuff shrank this time. But I want to mark my reading maybe throughout my week. I'm not quite sure yet. I guess I should probably white out this. But that just reminded me that I needed to mark down a couple things on my, oh gosh, like my pre-planning list. Oh, you were doing great. I think it's when I start to go over the other washi. No, the other whiteout. So I do still want to track steps. I think I need to because I still want to be running, but I don't know that I'm going to put down my runs. I think I want to track my runs, but I also need to track my water, so then reading might get kicked You guys couldn't see where I was pointing. I was pointing down to my habit trackers. But I'm also, this is so crooked. It is bothering me now. It wasn't just a second ago, but it is now. I also am doing a 30-day squat challenge, which is not going well. It was day 3 yesterday and I didn't do it. Day 4 is today, and it's a break, like a rest day, so that's helpful because I'll be able to go downstairs maybe when I'm done with this and get caught up. If not, I'm gonna have a ton of squats to do tomorrow, which will be fun. I picked out this Simply Gilded Stardust washi to kind of go with the kit. You guys know, see if I can get it to focus a little bit better, how much I love pairing Simply Gilded. Please focus. There we go. Simply Gilded washi with Sweet Kawaii design sets. It always goes so beautifully together. Make sure that I'm in frame. Okay. Got to get this little bit off, and then since I have talked your ear off for this part, I am going to speed through the rest, and I will show you my plans at the end. Not a whole lot of fancy dancy stuff happening this week, but that's okay. Flip it open and I can show you what we're working with. Alright, so that is what I've got going so far, and I am going to go ahead and, like I said, speed through the rest, and I'll check back in with you at the end. Alright, so here is my finished spread, and I want to walk through my plans with you guys. So my sidebar is pretty much the same. Oh man, I've like already scuffed up my stickers. Tracking my steps per usual. I want to track my Colby. You can hear a little dog whining in the background. It's just Colby making as much noise as possible. I still want to track my Instagram post in here. I track it also in my print impression weeks, but both places is probably best. I want to still track my water, and then down here I put this little mouse with the dumbbells, and I want to track just like working out in general. I thought about maybe just making this my 30-day squat challenge, which I still might, but I also want to make sure that if I'm not running or walking or doing something, that I am doing yoga, which I did this past week just once so far. I probably will do it again tomorrow, but it's not there yet. Going on to Monday, I used the I need a coffee the size of my butt sticker because holy shit balls and flipping off Poe, I have jury duty. So I do have to report on Monday. I'm not sure if I have to report again on Tuesday yet or not. But one of these nights or possibly tomorrow, I need to actually write some reports for work because I've got some meetings Wednesday and I wasn't able to get them done in time at work last week. So I'm also planning on FaceTiming my friend Stephanie. I had pulled out a go for a walk sticker, but then I remembered that we're FaceTiming and I don't know, like, daylight situation wise if I'll have time to walk before we FaceTime or not. So I'm not quite sure on that. Tuesday is $2 Tuesday. I need to take out the trash. My husband is taking my car to work and I'm taking his car to jury duty or work depending on what happens there. I need a tire rotation, so the dealership is closer to his work, so he is taking the car to do that. So this may or may not go towards jury duty. It just kind of depends what's going on. Also, I don't know if I can like really share this, but now I am, so I'm really sorry, Darshell, if not. And I think she said Tuesdays, so I may have to flip this, but the Books and Planners book club subscription box type thing, the theme for November's box is being released on Tuesday, I believe. So I wanted to make sure that I get that sticker in there. Wednesday, I need to charge my Fitbit. I want to plan for a run, and then I don't know. Thursday is Halloween, so I just decorated a little bit there. I have my root canal at like 8 or 8:30 that day. And because that is the last day of the month, I want to plan to have my October book club book done, the group read for that, so the Undead Girl Gang, done by this Thursday so that I can do the book discussion on that and just be done. So I've been doing the audiobook version of it, so I didn't really like tab and figure out when I was supposed to go do the other discussion, so I'm just waiting till the end at this point and I'm just going to do one full discussion, but I don't know if I'll have it done by Thursday, but that's my goal. On to Friday. It is Freebie Friday. It is my Uncle Ellen's birthday, so I want to make sure to mark that so I remember to tell him happy birthday. It is the it will be on Friday, the Books and Planners Book Club box sign up that evening, and then I have a bill due. I put this sticker in here to go for the film edit and upload my plan with me. It is my friend Braylee and her husband's anniversary that day, so I wanted to mark down with this George with a little heart and put in their anniversary, so I remember to message them that. And again, I don't know what will happen there, but I have a bill due here. On to Sunday, I need to remember to charge my Fitbit. I want to budget since it's the end of the month and then going into a new month. I have nothing else planned for Sunday other than I need to go plan for a run. Now, I will say runs may or may not happen this week due to the weather because we may or may not get snow, and I'm not gonna run in the snow. I'm just not. So there's my week. I think it turned out really pretty, and you guys know like purple is my favorite color. Throw it in with this like gray scale, and the staggering of the boxes just kind of worked out pretty well this week too. So the only thing that I might switch up is that I don't know that I want both bats on one page, but honestly it like doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys liked my little chatty version in the beginning, and make sure you hit the thumbs up if you liked this video. Leave a comment. Let's see. Comment your favorite Halloween tradition. So, honestly, we've gotten out of Halloween a little bit because we've been in school, my husband and I, so we haven't really handed out candy on Halloween, and we're probably not going to do it this year either. I know, we're terrible, and ugh, we're probably going to turn our lights out and be Scrooges, honestly. I will probably watch TV. I know Grey's Anatomy is on Thursday, so we'll probably do that. But what do you guys do for Halloween? Do you have kids that are trick-or-treating? Do you hand out candy? Do you hermit like we do? What do you guys do? So make sure you are subscribed if you'd like to stay up to date, and hit the bell if you want to get notified of when I put up new releases. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for my plan with me. Bye guys!